My name is Victor Fuhrman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me now and we will explore these topics and so much more with fascinating guests, authors, and experts who will guide us to Destination Unlimited. We are closing out a year like no other in most of our lifetimes and memories. What lessons has 2020 brought us? Will the world as we knew it ever be the same? Will the ensuing changes bring us to a better world filled with renewed compassion, deeper understanding, and love? This week on Destination Unlimited, I'll offer my personal reflections on 2020 and combine these with thoughts shared by my guests over the course of this unprecedented year. There will be a lot of personal information that I'm sharing. This is not easy for me, but I believe it's important for you to know that I know what you've been going through. I share that with you. I have total compassion and total understanding. I begin by sharing what this year has been like for me and my family. My sense is this sharing will mirror what so many of you have experienced and reinforce the humanity of this experience and why I shared early on that this is a time for radical kindness and radical compassion. On January 17th, my sister got my mother on the phone to sing happy birthday to me from her bed in a nursing home in Brick, New Jersey. My mom had been in this facility for several years as the ravages of Parkinson's disease and COPD took their toll. A few weeks before, we were told that Mom's time was short, and they started her on hospice care. Her singing Happy Birthday to Me would be the last time. The following week, my sister called saying Mom would soon transition, and I drove down to New Jersey and joined her at my mother's bedside. She was unconscious when I arrived, and we took turns holding her hands and letting her know how much we loved her. I sensed that she was waiting for something, and then intuited she was waiting for our dad to welcome her on the other side. Dad passed in 1968, leaving her as a young widow with 3 kids. There was a song at the time by Bobby Goldsboro that reminded her of Dad, and she used to sing it, called Honey. As I held her hand, I told her that Dad was waiting for her with open arms, and that she should go to him when she saw him. I then sang her the short refrain that she would sing years before. And honey, I miss you, and I'm being good, and I long to be with you, if only I could. She passed a short time later. As an interfaith minister, I officiated the funeral for our family. I acknowledged my sister Jody and brother Dave for taking on the lion's share of her care in her final years, and shared some thoughts as I eulogized Mom. I honored her courage, her wisdom, her grace, her glowing smile. I shared that as a young widow, she taught us no matter how difficult things were, with faith and love, we never wanted for anything we truly needed. I concluded the eulogy with the tradition of looking at each letter of her name and finding the deeper meaning therein. Her name was Malvine. M, mother, a devoted, caring, and loving mother to her children and all of the children that graced her life. A, aware. She had a profound awareness of the meaning of life and used this awareness to overcome obstacles and thrive. L, loving. Her love was all-encompassing, tough love when necessary, but always unconditional. V, vivacious. When she was younger, she was always known as the life of the party. She was outgoing, the perennial hostess, and fun to be around. I for intelligent. She was a brilliant woman with a deep and profound understanding of all aspects of life that she taught and shared with us. And the E, empathy. Her love and compassion extended to all who came to her for a hug, a meal, a kind word, or her incredible gift of listening and truly hearing and feeling the needs of others. I closed the funeral with the 23rd Psalm, sharing the wisdom of one of my beloved teachers, who said the psalm tells us that when we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we don't stay there, we walk through. Unfortunately, for so many, that beautiful thought was challenged as the rest of this year unfolded. 12 days after Mom's funeral, there was a time of renewed joy. My brother Dave threw a very special birthday party for my sister-in-law, Marianne. Marianne had been struggling with cancer, and he wanted to do something very special for her. While planning the event, he asked if I would do a surprise renewal of vows for them, and of course I was delighted to. At a given point, he had her sit in a chair in the middle of the dance floor, mentioned he never gave her a diamond engagement ring, got down on one knee, proposed to her, and asked her to marry him again. She was totally surprised, delighted, and said yes. He then turned around and said, "I wish we could renew our vows right now. Is there a minister in the house?" I'd been hiding in the back where I donned my robe, walked out, and renewed their vows. It was an amazing, love and tear-filled celebration, and I was grateful to be a small part of this renewal and bring joy to the family after Mom's passing. Marianne continued to receive special treatment for the cancer and seemed to be responding through the course of the year. On September 12th, my brother contacted us, saying she had passed unexpectedly. He asked me to officiate her funeral, and of course I did. Marianne was a very special soul. Her granddaughter referred to her as everyone's favorite person, and she was. She had an infectious smile, loved to dance and entertain, and she was the love of my brother's life. The year brought more losses and more funerals. Our dear friend, master astrologer, comedian, and cabaret performer Shelley Ackerman passed on February 27th. Another dear friend of my wife's passed on March 10th. I was called to officiate another friend's brother's funeral in October. And as I record this program, we have more friends fighting for their lives, but this time with COVID. This has been a year of tremendous loss here in the United States and worldwide for so many. As someone who has walked a spiritual path for many years, I know that death is a transition and not an end. I also know that grief is a totally individual process and that there's no right way or wrong way, just what we need to process and to heal. My calling has been to comfort with words, compassion, and most often, sacred listening. I'm grateful that I was able to bring this to my family and to friends. Someone recently asked me when I took time to grieve my losses. My response was to start crying and allow all that had transpired to process through me. For many, COVID-19 prohibited in-person funeral gatherings. In late April, during the initial spread, especially here in New York, I interviewed my dear friend, Green Funeral Director, Amy Cunningham, on how families were honoring their dead with this unprecedented challenge. What are some of the rituals that families may engage in during this period of physical distancing and isolation?
One ritual, there's several things I want to say here. We're seeing ways to warm up technology and make it more spiritual. I'm very excited about Zoom, the conferencing platform, and its possibilities for memorial services eulogies and events in honor of those we've lost. I try to stay away from that language, by the way, those we've lost. They're no longer with us the way they were, but they're really not lost to us. I feel like they're very, very available. So we all need to work on new language around death and dying that will have a positive message attached to it. Also, there are ways that we can bring the dead into our daily lives. I love altars, or we don't have to call them altars. We can call them memorial tables in the home, where you could put photographs of the person you're missing and candles, objects, and have a space in your home as we're all hunkered down in our residences, trying to keep a safe distance from each other. There are ways we can remember the dead in that way. Also, I love ancestor walls and hanging pictures in one particular area of the house of all your beloved ancestors and relatives, and even authors, people who changed your life, and remember the dead in that way. I took a workshop once with a gentleman who said you can bring the dead into your life by finding something that they wrote in their own handwriting and reading it aloud. So if you have any letters that your mother wrote to you when you were in summer camp or at college, bring those out and read them. Find those documents that remind you. Of course, photos are so important. And now we can digitalize all this material and put it online on platforms like lifeposts.com. There's another new one called gatheringus.com. These are wonderful platforms that allow you to tell a life story. And we didn't used to have that kind of thing. And we now have our cell phones, which are amazing records of our own lives and the times we've shared with others. So we have so much data available.
As the pandemic ensued here in New York in March, it became quite apparent that physical distancing and major life changes were upon us. Many became unemployed as businesses deemed non-essential began to cut back and close. As some of you know, I had a day job in the compressed gas and welding supply industry that started when I left the Air Force in 1979. In July of 2018, I took what was intended to be my retirement position with a wonderful company here in New York, owned by longtime industry friends of mine. My plan was to work until I was 70. My role was to share my years of experience with their young and upcoming inside and outside sales staff and also handle their marketing. On March 22nd, I was called into a board meeting with the owners, again my friends, who regretfully told me that I was being furloughed, which I knew meant the end of my position. I knew that when business was good, my compensation, that included a company vehicle, was a luxury for them. And with the uncertainty of COVID, it became something they could not continue. They were generous in my departure, and I'm grateful to them for everything they did and shared with me. So at 67, I was unemployed for the first time since leaving the service. 41 years of continuous employment with 3 companies. I know many of you lost your jobs, businesses, and livelihood, and I have total compassion. It was a time for my wife and I to review our assets, our savings, and our expenses. My mother's wisdom came back to me as we planned how we would move forward, that with faith and love, we would want for nothing that we truly needed. On that same day, March 22nd, when one door closed, another opened. I had been contacted by the interfaith seminary that I graduated from and was ordained from in 1997 and was asked to participate in a Zoom class they were holding that weekend. It was also offered to complete my doctoral dissertation that had been on hold, and I did. In July, I received my doctorate in spiritual counseling, a tool that has allowed me to be of great service to others. Again, when one door closed, another opened. Also, being without a company-provided vehicle for the first time in 32 years afforded me the opportunity for some great exercise as I walked everywhere with a mask and following protocols for weekly shopping and errands. And the other silver lining of this experience was more time to finish my book, which I started working on 3 years ago. I hope to have it published in the spring. It's based upon a question someone asked me 5 years ago. This colleague knew of my spiritual life and asked how I balanced this with a day job in industrial technical sales. I responded quite naturally, the day job pays my salary, and the spiritual work pays my solary. This word came out of me, and I knew this would be the basis of my book and future teachings. My book is entitled Solary, The Compensation of Spirit. As the year ensued and COVID spread, the egregious acts of racial violence and the challenges on all levels, I shared this poem as a work of compassion. Some found it challenging because of the reference to pain, but I shared it to let others know they were not alone in their experience. The poem is entitled, I Share Your Pain. For those who've lost jobs and careers and are striving to maintain, I share all of your hopes and fears, and yes, I share your pain. For those whose lives are now on hold and from gathering must refrain, I know that life may feel empty and cold, and yes, I share your pain. For those who've lost their mom or dad and in grieving now remain, I share your tears and know how sad, and yes, I share your pain. For those who see our country shake and hatred's awful stain, I know that hearts have come awake, and yes, I share your pain. And for those who pray that this will end and love will rule again, I pray with you, my dearest friend, and yes, I share your pain. Many of us are empaths and sensitive to the energy of others. One of the gifts that 2020 brought was meeting Archangel Raphael, the founder of a wonderful group called Collective Healing Online. I asked him how empaths may deal with these unprecedented times. Andrew, many of us are empathic and sensitive to the energy of others, and in particular the negative energy of others. How does this practice of sending love and light work for the empath?
It's a good question. My belief, is that it is not possible to absorb negative energy at the same time that you are putting positive energy outward. You can think of it like a faucet. I mean, if a faucet is turned on and water's running out of the faucet, debris cannot go up the faucet. So, you hear from a lot of spiritually minded people or empathic people that say, it's really hard for me because I'm so sensitive and there's so much negative energy out in the world and I'm absorbing it all and it's really hard. And I would say, don't be an energy sponge. Be an energy transmitter. You have to flip that switch and stop sponging the energy of the world. And you have to be the person to send that energy out into the world. And so if you're in a place where you're feeling overrun by negative energy or things, ask yourself, am I putting positive energy out into the world? And my experience is that the more and more that I project positive energy out into the world, the less and less room I have to be absorbing negative energy. You can't sponge and transmit at the same time.
Absolutely. As empaths, many of us have to learn to embrace our inner child and give that empathy and the comfort to that child within. This poem came through me addressing that subject. Child of my spirit, why do you cry? My arms will enfold you as you tell me why. Share all your dreams, your hopes, and your fears, as my love is the tissue to dry all your tears. Child of my spirit, it's time to heal. Know that you're loved, and that love is real. Let go of the doubts you've carried since birth, and know that you're precious as gold in your worth. Child of my spirit, it's time to shine. Open your heart, and all will be fine. Trust that your path is steady and true, and know the divine will always love you. In our next 2 segments, we'll examine some of the lessons of 2020 and how we may find new and positive ways of approaching our changing world. We'll be back after these words on the OMTimes Radio Network.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes. Co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Know that feeling? Like every door is closing and you just can't see a way out? Being unemployed, underemployed, or just out of school can feel like that. But when you find the right tools, suddenly everything just clicks. FindSomethingNew.org offers resources that help develop new skills that can position you for careers in today's growing industries, from healthcare and manufacturing to cybersecurity and alternative energy. Find your path to a new career at FindSomethingNew.org. A message from the Ad Council.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. Back on Destination Unlimited as we look at this year of 2020, one of the things that became very important this year was the need to relax and de-stress. A regular practice of meditation is a wonderful way of doing this. I had the joy of interviewing my beloved friend and yoga teacher, Judy Hamsa Spagnola, back in April, and we shared some guided meditations on the show. I offer one of those to you now. As always, if you're in the midst of an activity that requires your complete attention, like cooking or driving, turn this off and listen to the archive later. If you're in a place where you may relax, I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
So as we begin to learn how to do our three-part breath or Dirga Swasam, I would like for you to lie down in a comfortable position. Perhaps a rolled blanket or a bolster could be placed beneath your knees to help release your lower spine. You can also place a folded blanket to support your neck and back of the head, and perhaps a blanket over you to keep you warm and an eye pillow to block out any light. So I'll give you a moment to just get comfortable with that and settle in. As you settle in, begin to bring your awareness to your breath. Breathing gently in and out through the nose. Feel the coolness of the breath along the tip of your nose as you inhale, and the gentle warmth of the breath along the upper lip as you exhale. Feel your body beginning to settle as you slowly let go and relax completely. Begin to feel your thoughts quieting as you focus on the gentle sound of your breath. Feel your body gently beginning to release and relax as you listen to the sound of your breath, breathing in and breathing out.
Place your hands gently on your abdomen, and as you take your next breath, begin to feel your belly expanding, rising upward toward the sun. Exhale now, and feel your belly beginning to contract as the navel releases toward the spine and your lower back releases into the support of the floor. Repeat this belly breath a couple of more times, becoming more relaxed with each breath that you breathe. On your next breath, inhale into the abdomen, and as it fills, feel the breath flowing upward into your rib cage. Feel the rib cage expanding outward as the lungs fill with the breath. Exhale now and begin to feel the rib cage contract. Then feel the belly contract as it releases into the lower spine. Repeat this breath a couple of more times.
On your next breath, feel the abdomen expand as you inhale, then feel the rib cage and the lungs expand. And now continue to move the breath into the upper chest as you fill the entire trunk of your body with this wonderful cleansing, relaxing, three-part breath. At the top of the inhalation, begin to exhale while contracting the upper chest, the rib cage, and abdomen, only to begin again on your next inhalation, expanding abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest, and gently contracting upper chest, rib cage, and abdomen. Continue this breathing technique several more times as you imagine this breath just as the ocean's waves, one wave flowing into the other, ebbing and flowing, having no beginning and having no end, ever present, taking you deeper, deeper and deeper into the recesses of your heart. Breathing in and breathing out. Relax and just breathe. Slow and deep. Deeper and deeper. Slowly begin to return the awareness to your breath. As the breath deepens, begin to move your fingers and your toes. Gently move your head from side to side. And as you feel ready in your own space and time, you can gently roll over onto one side. Take a few breaths. And when you're ready, slowly return to a sitting position and observe how you feel.
Judy, thank you so much for that wonderful lesson in breathing and relaxing, remembering what it was like to breathe when we were babies in the natural way that we were born. Thank you so much.
You're so very welcome, Vic. Thank you for having me.
And for those who would like more information about Judy, she can be reached at jhamsa1, that's JHAMSA1 hamsa1 or through Integral Yoga of New York, 212-929-0586. Thank you all for joining us in this wonderful meditation. To all of you, Om Shanti and Namaste. My deep gratitude to Judy for sharing that wonderful meditation with us. So you practice meditation and you chill, and your partner doesn't. The forced togetherness of COVID-19 has led to a lot of issues in relationships. I had the pleasure of interviewing relationship expert Alana Pratt, who discussed this issue. Alana, couples had issues long before the current pandemic crisis. What was the recurring theme in most of these difficult relationships?
Thank you. Yeah, it's about the inability or lack of practice of being able to keep your heart open for those tough conversations. Everybody's able to get along when they're not triggered. They use the best part of their brain, their prefrontal cortex. They're able to listen to their intuition. Things are great. As soon as something happens that makes you feel mad or scared or triggers a time when you were very abused or sad, the brain only gives us 5 seconds to stay present. And if we don't do different behaviors, which I'm happy to share about, within 5 seconds, we go back into that reptilian brain, fight or flight or freeze. And that's when we hit below the belt. That's when we see red and we say things we can't imagine we just said. And that's when we can't take it back. And it's very difficult to make up for the damage done when we've really abused or hurt our partner so deeply. And so that's what they would come to me for, Victor, is they were each in their own corner. It wasn't safe to open their hearts. It wasn't safe to dive in and have those tough conversations. So then they didn't have that conversation anymore. And then the next weekend they had a fight about something else. So they don't talk about that anymore. And then all of a sudden they're not talking about anything. And there's no more depth and no more meaning to the whole relationship. And they become roommates that do that passive aggressive thing every so often, roommates that stop spending time with one another, and the contempt begins and the respect goes down. So this is the painful place a lot of couples come to me in.
And so they're roommates right now, but before COVID-19, they had the ability to go elsewhere and have time alone and separate themselves. But in the midst of COVID-19, especially in dense population areas, many couples and families have been virtually locked in their homes. How does this closeness trigger issues that may have been under the surface?
Yes, well, there's no escape. The way they breathe starts to piss you off, right? So you can't escape, as you said, just to go for a walk or spend time at work or with other friends. That sort of takes the pressure off. Now, on the one hand, yes, this has made far more divorce cases, a lot more fights, heaven forbid, a lot more child abuse. So there's definitely the negative side to this. And yet I'd like to present the opposite point of view as well, is this is the fire that most of us have been avoiding facing and feeling and moving through to the other side. So this obstacle, this challenge is actually such a gift for couples if they can be guided in a healthy way to have those conversations that they've just never known how to have with themselves and with each other. And one of the first places to start is to notice, am I looking, just like I told my story with my first husband or second husband, I was looking for my safety outside of me. Literally, Victor, yesterday, I've been working with a couple for about a year. We've been having a lot of great breakthroughs, but yesterday was magnificent. They finally really, really got, and that they would blame each other, and they had all these reasons, and they had facts to back it up and all the rest of it. But the gentleman was seeking his peace in her behavior. Well, she's not very consistent. She never does. It's all she. And then the opposite for her, she was looking for her safety in him. Well, how am I supposed to feel safe if he does this and he does that? It's the exact same issue that I was dealing with that they were dealing with. And so when I finally took them through, okay, what if for the gentleman, his peace was his own job? Just like we look to someone else to make us happy, happiness is our own job. What if our own inner safety, our own inner peace and security is our own job, and we take the other one off the hook, and then we come from fullness back towards each other with a full heart and an open heart? All of a sudden, that literally raises our vibration. The literal measurable coherence of our heart rises from like low contempt and blame into compassion and empathy. And then love is birthed and kindness, and you can be curious, and you can come back together with appreciation that, oh my God, you who I've blamed for everything are actually my greatest spiritual teacher that woke me up out of an old pattern. And I'm now the embodiment of safety itself. I'm the embodiment of peace itself. And it's all because of you. Thank you. It's just gorgeous to watch where this couple has got to since they've been able to see the gift in the discomfort, lean in and stop blaming and cultivate that inner relationship with themselves.
And we'll be back with some final thoughts on 2020 after these words on the OMTimes radio network.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free, ascendinghearts.com.
Humanity Healing International is a small nonprofit with a big dream. Since 2007, HHI has been working tirelessly to bring help to communities with little or no hope. Our projects are not broad mandates, nor are they overnight solutions, but they bring the reassurance that no one is alone and that someone cares. To learn more, please visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Hello, I'm Lisa Berry. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Light on Living, a chance to see new, hear different, and feel more as I shine the spotlight on all the ways to lighten the load of life's challenges. Light on Living is your link to that new way you're looking for, that new understanding that will enhance your life, and that positive connection that will support your growth. So join me, and you'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Hi, this is Bill Maher. I can find humor in almost anything, but one thing I never laugh about is cruelty to animals. If you don't get the joke either, write People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, 501 Front Street, Norfolk, Virginia, 23510.
Back on Destination Unlimited, we close this look at 2020 with a couple of thoughts. Motivational speaker Brian Tracy said, "You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control your attitude toward what happens to you. And in that, you will be mastering change rather than allowing it to master you." How do we control our attitude? By focusing on what resonates with us, empowers us, and helps us to recognize our connection to the divine as we understand it. I recorded the following meditation on the 4 great archangels to help others find peace and a sense of security during these unprecedented times. I share it with you as we close this year. If your belief system resonates with other energy forms, feel free to think of those as I name the archangels. Again, sit back, relax, and receive. Begin to relax. As your body relaxes, begin to direct your attention to your heart chakra. Notice how it feels to direct your breath into your heart and bathe it with love. The love that is your birthright. The love we give to ourselves and know that we are worthy to receive. Continue to breathe into your heart center, and with each deep and cleansing breath, let go of any burdens you carry there, with the knowledge that in doing so, you are lightening your heart and allowing it to be filled with love. Your love for self, your birthright, and know that you are worthy of this love. Repeat this process using 3 deep and cleansing breaths to soothe your heart and comfort it. Begin to allow your breath to return to your natural pattern of inhalation and exhalation. Feel how good it is just to relax and allow this natural breath to soothe and comfort you. Know that today is done and tomorrow will take care of itself. Give yourself the gift that is your birthright, total presence and total comfort in this moment. As you go deeper into relaxation, sense the presence of your guides, angels, spiritual teachers, and all of those you call upon for comfort and peace. Know they are present with you and are beaming unconditional love. You are worthy of this love. Know that they are here for you now and always. Know that you are never alone. Let yourself imagine that you can feel a presence along the right side of your body and the right side of your face. Give this experience on the right side the name of Michael. The Archangel Michael's name means who is like God. Michael carries a golden sword to protect you from anything that is not for your highest good. Know that Michael, or this presence as you know it in your tradition, is always there, protecting you. Now let yourself imagine another presence on your left side. Feel the gentle sensation just as on your right. This is the Archangel Gabriel, who is known to represent the strength of God. Gabriel also whispers soft and powerful affirmations. Sense Gabriel saying, "The strength of God is with you." Know that Gabriel, or this presence as you know it in your tradition, is always there to reassure and advise you. You may now experience both sides simultaneously. The who is like God on your right, the strength of God on your left. Stay with this experience for a while. Allow yourself to sense something behind you. Imagine this is part of what is holding you up and supporting you. This is Archangel Raphael, whose name means God heals. Know that Raphael, or this presence as you know it in your tradition, is always there, supporting and bringing you divine healing as you request it. Now sense all three simultaneously. Michael protecting you on the right. Gabriel whispering sweet affirmations on the left. Raphael the healer supporting you from behind. Next, imagine a light is shining ahead of you in front of your face. Sense it shining and warm, illuminating your path. This is the Archangel Auriel, the light of God. Know that Auriel, or this presence as you know it in your tradition, is always there, illuminating your path and dispelling darkness. Now you are surrounded on four sides by protection, strength, healing, and light. Finally, imagine a huge, beautiful cloud of iridescent white light hovering above your body. This is the Shekinah, the feminine indwelling presence of God, the Divine Mother. Allow the light of Shekinah to slowly descend, surrounding you with love, enveloping you with tender protection, cradling you in the softest, most peaceful state of mind you have ever experienced. Surrounded by angels, you are also in the arms of infinite kindness, absolute security, and safety. Know that these wonderful energies are always with you. Just call upon them when you need protection, strength, support, light, and love. Gently say the following to yourself 3 times. I am protected, assured, supported, and illuminated by divine love. I am protected, assured, supported, and illuminated by divine love. I am protected, assured, supported, and illuminated by divine love. Allow this energy to fill every cell in your body. Gently say the following to yourself 3 times. I am loved and worthy of love. I am loved and worthy of love. I am loved and worthy of love. Allow this energy to fill your heart and your soul. Know that this is your truth as a child of the divine, as you know the divine, and that you are never alone. Slowly return your focus to your breath. Bring your consciousness back to this place and this time. Take a few deep and cleansing breaths at your own pace and level of comfort. Allow your breath to return to its natural pattern, and when you are ready, open your eyes. Thank you for taking this journey of spirit, light, and love. You are blessed in all ways. You are loved. May 2021 be a year of compassion, healing, love, and peace. Thank you, my friends. Blessings.